My name is Louise, and welcome to Adventures with Yarn. This is my podcast where I talk about mainly knitting and crochet, maybe occasionally some other crafts too, like embroidery and stitching. Well, I hope you guys have all had a great week. Last week we announced the giveaway winner for our Christmas knitting giveaway, the podcast's first ever giveaway, and I sent off that cowl in the mail to the lucky winner, so that was fun. I have here with me little Houdini. He is my little 5-pound Chihuahua. He is a dog. Kind of looks like a rat, acts like a cat, but he's my little snuggle muffin. Anyways, I just thought that I would just kind of show him a little bit, let him be a part of this for just a little bit, because I'm going to talk about him a little bit later and makings of a potential knitted sweater for this little guy. Alright, thank you, Houdini. Thanks for showing up. We'll let you be free. We'll let you be free. Okay, so this week I have a couple of finished objects to show you. And one of them is, of course, another Noro hat, or the Noro yarn made into a Graham hat. I was a little hesitant about this colorway, but I think it's become like one of my favorites. And shall I try it on? It is so bright, you guys. Oh my gosh. It's really, really bright. I think it's the brightest one so far, and I've made 3 of these, all Graham hats. This will be the last podcast that these hats will be shown, because I am traveling this next week and will be giving these hats to their recipients. So I have this one, and now this is the Noro Nishinki yarn, which is their cotton blend, and this colorway is Sundance. And then, if you remember from previous episodes, I have 2 more. This is the Dreamcatcher colorway, and this is the Borealis colorway. And I have a ball of yarn myself in the Rhapsody colorway, which I felt had the most pink out of the 3 of these, although I've been very pleasantly surprised with the amount of pinks in this one. You know, with Christmas knitting upon us, the Christmas season, I do not have time to make my own to go along with the recipients of these, so I will just save it for later. What was also super cool was that when I made each of these, I had just a little bit less than half a ball of yarn left in each colorway. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. I thought maybe I could make some baby hats, or what might be cool is if I like use a little bit of each yarn to make a baby hat. That might be a little too off the hook, like way too many colors, but it might be kind of cool to have like a baby hat with the colors of the different hats all combined. I don't know, who knows. Anyways, so these are done and will be given out as Christmas presents. The next Noro hat I have balled up here. Now this is a little bit different than these ones. This is, I want to say Noro Kagayaki or something. It's a little bit different, a little bit of a different cotton blend, and you can tell the colors are kind of, they won't be in like such quick stripes. They'll be more big, broad stripes of just a few colors. We've got the green and some taupe and red in there too. You can kind of just see it covered up. But that is the next Noro project. Ready to go. So that'll be that. I don't remember if I showed you much. I suppose I could take this off. I don't remember if I showed you very much of the project that I was working on last week. I was working on the Huntress vest, and it is put out by Julie Knits in Paris. And actually the pattern was actually made by a Alexandra Tavel. And it's a crochet cowl vest, kind of like a over one shoulder kind of cowl that is inspired by the Hunger Games, Katniss Everdeen, and a cowl that she wears in the third movie. And so I'll show you my progress that I have on this so far. Make sure this is, so you have here the neck piece, and then this kind of goes over the arm here, and you have this, I say, sorry Sarah, you can't see everything. And then this kind of goes down across the body. And I don't want to put it on completely because it's not being made for me. But basically, you can kind of see that that's there. So you have the cowl that goes around the neck, the front part that goes across the body. You've got this armhole here, and your other arm is just kind of left open for whatever. So it will kind of fall kind of like that and go across. So this is mostly crochet in a super bulky weight of yarn. This is Lion Brand Wool-Ease Thick and Quick, and like I said, crocheted except for this little part here. This little patch kind of adds a little bit of a different texture dimension. This was knit, just so this triangle here was knit in the herringbone stitch, and that's put there. Something that I kind of was reminded, and you can see I still have ends to weave in, but I was very much reminded when making this that construction is not my favorite thing to do. I really like to crochet and I really like to knit, but the actual construction, this was made in several different pieces. You have the cowl itself here, which then you have to fold in on itself and knit onto what they call the scarf, so one long chunk there. And then you have, besides the knitted section here, these are actually two different lengths of crochet that they then have you crochet together, and you are attaching it up at the top and then again in the back where it attaches back there. So now I should have all the construction down. There is actually, come to think of it, I do actually need to crochet like one more round around the outside edges just to kind of smooth over the edges, and I'll add a little bit more, depth to the whole thing. But yes, so hopefully the recipient of this will enjoy it. The Huntress vest, inspired by Katniss Everdeen of the Hunger Games, and it just kind of goes on down there. So maybe after Christmas, after I give this away, we can hunt down some pictures. Hunt down. Anyways, we'll find some pictures and we'll show this, but that is coming along. And I'll be glad to weave in all those ends, or I'll be glad to be done weaving in all those ends. Weaving in ends is not the most fun thing to do in the world. The other project that I've been working on this week is a Gokstad hat. And here we go. This is what I have so far. So this is the first hat that I've made in a fingering weight yarn, and so it's been fairly delicate and little patterns and textures. This yarn has been really fun. So I got this, actually found this yarn at a local yarn shop in Ashland, and I could not resist. I could not leave without it. This is the Madeline Tosh plus Hollow Glitter in the colorway called Poison. And the Gokstad hat, if you can kind of see, we've got some cables going on right here. Ribbing on the bottom, a cable pattern up there. I think it's kind of hard to tell on this camera and the lighting. But then it goes around, has different textures on the different sides. Wow, this has been challenging. So I did the brim was fine. You see a little bit of different texture here and a little texture there. But then the chart can get a little confusing. It actually is written out well, and you just have to, you know, focus and pay attention to what you're doing and where and what round and da-da-da-da-da. But, like, I had finished the ribbing and had gotten, I don't know what, like 8 rows in, and realized I wasn't doing the chart right of the cable pattern. So there's the pattern in general all around, and then there's the chart for the cabling, which is an 8-row repeat. So you just kind of have to keep track of that and keep track of those numbers. Am I on row 1 through 8, while the rest of the rows, you know, keep on going forward, 9, 10, 11. You just have to make sure that you're coordinating with the chart too. So I realized that that didn't line up, ripped back, start over, and then there was something, I think I had like set it down and worked on those other projects that I was showing you, and then went to pick it back up and like started on a wrong row or something. I didn't realize it till 3 rows later. And because of then having like all the stitch markers in place for the different parts of the pattern, I couldn't just like take it off the needles and like pull back, rip all the way back for 3 rows. I had to like, because I was afraid, I was like, how am I gonna know where the place markers go? And it's just a mess. So I pretty much spent like an afternoon undoing each stitch one by one until I was all the way back to where I needed to be. And it was kind of silently, slowly killing me inside to do that. But I knew that in the end, I wanted this to look nice, and I didn't want to regret, you know, having any parts that wouldn't look right and wouldn't look just, you know, perfect with the pattern. So it's coming along. I don't think that I'll be able to show the actual finished object of this because I shall have given it to the recipient by the time I film next week's podcast. So next week I will try to take a picture and show that, because I'm just going to be busting this out. I think this is the next thing that I need to have finished. And I have a couple more evenings, and I have like my travel time actually driving down to California from up here in Oregon. So that's what I'll be working on. It just kind of takes a little bit more focus on the chart and making sure my rows are all lined up how they need to be. So, Gokstad hat. Okay. So, what's next? As far as Christmas knitting goes, I still just have a few more things to work on. So, I told you about the Gokstad hat. I still need to finish that. The other things that I will be working on will be a couple more hats, probably. So this I did show this. I got this ball of yarn as part of my Black Friday haul. This is from Loops and Threads, and it is the from the Facet Stones collection, and this color is called Quartz. And I was assuming that I'd be making a hat. I probably will, but I'm open for creativity. So I'm allowing myself to, you know, if I change my mind, maybe, you know, who knows? Maybe a small cowl, maybe some wrist warmers. I don't know, maybe even a scarf. That could be pretty. I have some time. I have a little bit of time. So whatever comes to me for that. So that is still something yet to be made. Also, I have its little partner in the colorway Pearl. Same kind of thing. I'm probably gonna make a hat. I want to make a hat, I think, out of this for its intended recipient, but who knows? I will leave myself open for my own suggestions. And any of yours too, if you want to comment, by all means, tell me what you think this should be made into. It's really soft. But I don't know. I really like the colors. So those are two things that still need to be made as far as Christmas knitting goes. And also as far as Christmas knitting, we have the Stardew color, the Copenhagen yarn. I'll probably make this a cowl. So I still need to do this. I'll whip this up, probably crochet, because I'm faster at crocheting than knitting. So that is still the third project that needs to be done still for Christmas. And then I think the last Christmas project will be, I want to make a cozy, like a cozy snow hat out of this. I forget the color of this, the name of this color. It is Lion Brand Woolies Thick and Quick Carousel. That's it. It's Carousel. Oh, I just love this. Kind of wish I could keep it for myself. But it's so much fun. So much pastel and changing colors. And I just kind of foresee like this chunky ribbed hat that you can kind of flip up the brim with like a big pom-pom. We'll see. We'll see. But so really, that's not that bad. I mean, I think we are... the day that I'm filming this, which is a little bit earlier than when I'm posting because of my work schedule and such. I think we're now at the 11 days to Christmas mark. So, and I've got travel time in between, which could be good, could be bad. A lot of time on the road, but I mean, I'm kind of holding Houdini in my lap. It can be hit or miss for how much I actually end up getting done on the road. And then also, like, kind of during vacation can be hit or miss too, because you know, visiting with family, we got a lot of things going on, a lot of things to do, and hanging out. But also, like with my mom, she's also really big into crafting, so a lot of our hanging out is crafting and hanging out, or just like putting on a movie or just talking while we're crafting together. So we'll see, we'll see. But I mean, it's not like I'm surprisingly not like super pressed for time with these now. I just have to like come to terms that there's some people that aren't going to get knitted things this year, and unfortunately it's some of the male loved ones in my life. It's just I don't know, I guess it just usually is easier to make things that are pretty and the yarns that I have, and but you know, they understand, they know how it goes. So that's that. I am saving something special, and I mentioned this in last week's podcast. I have this super beautiful, beautiful yarn by Biff Sugar Yarns, and this colorway, besides being absolutely gorgeous, and speaking to my soul, like if my spirit animal was a skein of yarn, this would be it. The colorway is called Christmas Eve. So I'm going to make this my Christmas Eve cast on. I'm going to be joining the Blame Dunder Knit Along and making myself a pair of socks, which I've wanted to do for a while, and something for me too is a big deal. Making something for myself instead of always making something for other people. So I will be casting this on Christmas Eve. And I have this little mini skein, which the camera is making this look very blue right now, I feel. But it is actually kind of like a teal. It's a very teal-y color. I have been pondering and thinking about if I wanted this to be used for the heels and toes. And the more I think about it, I kind of think that I may end up regretting it if I don't use it, and that's something I always try to think about with my projects when I'm thinking about, you know, should I rip back, should I do this, should I do that, should I put the extra effort into doing this or that, and I just don't want to have regrets, you know. It's just better to do what you need to do to feel better about your project in the end, and it may be a little bit ambitious, to do the color changing for the toes and the heels for one of my first pair of socks. I mean, I've knit one sock before, not a pair, but one sock before. But I think that I might regret it if I might have the what ifs if I don't use this. So, and if you can kind of see, there's a little bits of teal in here also, all kind of scattered throughout, that kind of match this too. So I wonder if I can show this really good. Oh. Anyways, I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it, and it's gonna be for me. And also, we're gonna be flying out the day after Christmas, so this will be a really nice project to be working on in the plane too. I wish that I grabbed them, but I did buy, in anticipation, I bought some tiny circular needles by ChiaoGoo, and so they're wooden and nice, and so I won't have to kind of mess around with the double pointed knitting needles, which sometimes kind of stress me out just a little bit. I'm always afraid that someone's gonna like slip off of them, and I did in the past. I have put like knitting needle like those rubber stoppers on the points of like all of them, so like each double-sided double-pointed knitting needle would have the two stoppers on either side when I wasn't knitting on that exact one. It just kind of gets a little much, I think, especially if you're on like 3 or 4 needles and every time that you go through a row you're putting the stopper on. I don't know, but we'll try out the little circle, and they're just little, and that should be super cute. So we'll see how that goes. I will show you later. But this will be my Christmas Eve cast on of the Christmas Eve socks. So that's that. Last week I mentioned that I wanted to talk about the Make 9 challenge. And that is a challenge that a few people on Instagram are doing. It sounds like it may have started off with like a certain sewing challenge, but you know what? It sounds like a great challenge, and I'm gonna do it. So in this challenge, the Make 9 challenge, you choose 9 things that you want to make for the next year. So this is going to be the Make 9 2019 challenge, and where I am planning on 9 different things that I'll be making and kind of just planning that out. Some of these things are things that I've wanted to make for a long time, and some of the things are things that I just want to be sure that I make this next year. So at the top of my list will be the Christmas Eve socks, and I've shown you the yarn for those. Also on the top of my list is going to be a sweater for myself. And the sweater that I'm going to make for myself is going to be made out of this lovely, lovely yarn by Stranded Dye Works, which is hand-dyed yarn by Amy Florence of the Stranded Dye Works yarn and the Stranded podcast. She's really, really cool. I had thought that I had a sweater's quantity when I bought this, but then coming to find out I didn't. But she had 2 shop updates this month, and they happened to be on my days off, and I think like 7 p.m. her time is like 11 a.m. my time. And so the first update, you know, I'm looking, and I was really hoping, I was like, I just need a few more skeins of this, which is called Midnight Sun in the BFL DK weight superwash. And but the first shop update, it didn't have this in this weight. She had some other weights, but it didn't have this one. I just thought, well, okay, well, let's just see. Let's see if maybe her next shop update had it. And guess what? It did. So I got a few more. Shh, don't tell my husband. I already spent way too much money on yarn this last month and a half, like way too much money, but I know that this is going to be a special project. It's going to be a sweater for myself, and actually my husband Joshua has been really amazing and actually encouraging me to go ahead and spend the money to get myself yarn in a quantity enough to make a sweater out of. So I really like this color, which is also a little surprising too. My favorite color is pink, but I've been leaning towards a lot of purples. And I really like this purple. It's just kind of a nice, subtle gray purple, and it's soft but feels durable and super wash. I mean, that's a big deal. So I will be making myself a sweater out of this. What else is on the Make 9 challenge? So we've got a sweater for me and socks for me. A few things for myself is going to be a new thing. So I am going to use these. I found these off of Knit Picks a couple months ago. We have two different tweeds. They are merino wool nylon blend, and what are their colors here? Oyster heather and flagstone heather. And so I'm adding on baby socks to the Make 9 challenge. Maybe this year will be the year. I know I haven't gotten into a lot of detail, but basically maybe this is our year to have a baby. And I really just like foresee like making some little baby socks, maybe even like using those for like a birth announcement or something. So that's the intentions that I have for these. So some baby socks we'll make this year. I have a few baby sweaters that I have made and kept for myself, like with the intentions of eventually having a baby, but I've only started off with making like the smallest of the sweaters because it kind of seemed easy. So I kind of want to like bump up my baby sweater game and go a size up. So I have in my stash some cotton yarn. It is the I Love This Cotton from Hobby Lobby, and this is just like a nice gray color. Because I like pretty things and making pretty things, I think that I do tend to stash finished objects that are kind of more like for baby girls and look a little bit more feminine. So I want to make a baby sweater for a little boy to keep. So I have those there. What's next on my list? Well, you got to see Houdini, my little pup. I want to make him a sweater too. He has one sweater and it's pretty tight on him now these days, and it was a little wonky to make, so I want to try again. And I don't know where this yarn came from, but it was in my stash and it's soft, so I'm just gonna use it. It'll kind of be fun, some little kind of variegated tonal stuff going on here, and like I said, it's really soft and it's blue. Not that boys have to wear blue and girls have to wear pink, but Houdini is just so cute. Sometimes people kind of just, I don't know, they just assume he's a little girl, or you know, I'll take him to the pet store and people really like him and they'll come up, oh, your dog's so cute, have you seen these little dresses, have you seen these little fairy wings? And I'm like, yeah, those are cute, but he's a boy, I don't want to put fairy wings on him. But anyways, we'll make him a sweater. We'll make him a little dog sweater for the Make 9 2019 challenge. What else? We are going to make a couple more things. So, which one to talk about first? I have on my knitting crafting bucket list to make a arm knit blanket out of like super chunky wool. So I figure this might as well be the year. We'll make, I saw that it seems like it more and more often these are showing up in craft stores with like a really, really, really thick yarn. And I mean, it's so thick that you can use your arms. Instead of knitting needles, you're like actually using your arms. And I think that would be really cool. So I have put a arm knit blanket. And with the yarn being so big, I think you only need a couple balls of this really, really big thick yarn. And arm knit it on your hands, and you can quickly make a throw. It's just like a one-person throw to have on the couch. I think that will be really, really fun. So that is on my list. What else is on my list is something I've kind of been mulling over and thinking about and kind of wanting to do. I have made hats for charity in the past, and what's been easiest and kind of what's presented itself to me at the time has been making purple baby hats, which you make them and give them before October. I believe it's October. It's either October or November. I want to say it's October. But one of those months is like Shaken Baby Awareness Month. And so the hospitals will give the new parents of brand new little infant babies a DVD to watch about how to manage the fact that these babies are going to cry a lot. And they call it the period of purple crying. And there's an acronym for all the letters of purple of what to expect, and the baby is going to be crying, and how you can kind of manage with that as a new parent, rather than shaking a baby. And they each get to take a little purple baby hat home with them. So I've made these purple baby hats that get to be given out to new parents for the little babies. But what I haven't ever done is made hats for people going through chemotherapy. So that's something I want to do, especially like at work. I work in a hospital. I work on a surgical unit. We don't have a ton of patients that are actively going through chemotherapy because we have a separate unit for those types of patients. But every once in a while I get floated over to that unit when staffing calls for it, blah, blah, blah. And they do have people that donate hats, but some of them just don't look, I bless those who make things for others. Let's just say that. Let's just get that out of the way. Some of the hats that I saw in their little donation pile just kind of were a little like old-fashioned, like maybe I wouldn't wear that kind of hat if I didn't have hair. I mean, I'm saying it and I'm hating that I'm saying it. But here's the solution. I'm gonna make a few that are gonna look like something I myself would want to wear if I had to go through chemo and lose all of my hair. So, and I know that they want the hats to be like soft because, you know, it's gonna be on their like bare scalp or close to bare scalp. So I have in my stash some baby alpaca yarn. And I know that this one is 100% baby alpaca, and it is like a little cloud. Like, this yarn is so soft. I made a cowl out of this once before, and it really was just like wrapping a little cloud around my neck. And I think this is a alpaca blend, but I was thinking, I don't know if this is enough. I doubt this is enough to make a whole hat. So maybe I could make like a striped hat with the two of these, and just make something nice and modern looking and have it also be soft too. So a hat for those going through chemotherapy is on my to-do list. And another thing on my to-do list, something I've seen and I've always just kind of wanted to make, and I figure I will, is a crocheted hat for a baby, probably for my baby niece. And it is a hat that will then make the baby look like a Cabbage Patch doll. Pretty much this hat is like hair. And here's the yarn I'm going to use. So my little baby niece, Oliviana, has like no hair. She's bald. And we all kind of like to speculate what her hair color is going to be. And we like to speculate that maybe she'll be a little redhead. I happen to have this in my stash. I think that I bought this because I was making like a diaper cover of like a foxtail for a baby, for someone else's baby, and also had like a little hat with like fox ears and stuff. So I had this color. This is called Terracotta, the color, and it is by Line Brand in Vanish Choice yarn. And basically with what I have in my stash, I think this is the closest to like a little redhead baby. I just think it could be fun. It would just be fun to make a hat and give her some hair, kind of warm her little head up. It'll probably have like bangs and like the loop-de-loops that like Cabbage Patch dolls have on their head, and then maybe like bring it up and have like some pigtails or braids coming out the sides. So that is going to be on my to-do list as well. And then the very last thing on my Make 9 challenge is going to be something for my husband. He doesn't get a whole lot of things, and you may have seen this project earlier, like several podcasts ago, but I started making this square for a blanket, and the intention was to make this square and to make 12 other squares in different textures so that they would then be sewn together and make a blanket. But I kind of gave up. I saw how long it was taking me to make just this one square. I knew it wasn't going to make it in time for Christmas. So I put it aside. I kept my little progress keeper, the little grilled cheese sandwich there. It's really cute. Put it aside, but I think I'm going to bring it back out. And what I kind of like about this is I could just give myself, instead of trying to do like one square a week, which was my original intention, I could even do one square a month. It just might be, you know, a little funny to keep hearing me talk all year long about the Christmas mystery cow, which this was a part of, but we'll make it work. I think that's something I would like to do. It would also be busting out my stash. It would also be using up a lot of colors in my stash, which I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but I may be trying to make some certain kinds of New Year's resolution regarding my stash and such. And maybe in the next couple weeks I can try to tidy things up to where I could show you my stash. I know someone commented at one point asking for me to show my yarn closet, but it's not in a state right now. Things are kind of falling out all over the place. I think I just need to tidy it up a little bit, and and that way I can see where everything is, know where things are, and use stuff out of it, use stuff out of my stash this year. All right, guys, well, that is what I have this week. Thank you so much for watching. If you are a new viewer and you like what you see, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button and subscribe. I try to put out a podcast every Monday. And if you are a current subscriber, thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching and taking the time to see what I have to say here. I hope you guys are, you know, not super stressed with your Christmas knitting. I hope that you are able to take time and enjoy this holiday season, and, you know, maybe even make something for yourself or after the holidays. Yeah, it's all gonna be good. It's all gonna work out. Anyways, I hope you guys have a great week. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!